When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I am here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
And our topic for today is all about the power of community.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about this in
I always say that.
I know you do. In a few different ways. But just the essence of that feeling of community, which will show up in lots of different ways. And we're going to talk about a few different ones. But first, Cassie Parks, what are you excited about?
Oh my gosh. I am excited about, obviously, the holidays. We celebrate Christmas, and I'm excited about New Year's. But this year, I'm excited because it's the opening. New Year's is the opening for Pay After You Manifest. So I'm intending to help people manifest. And talking about community, we're going to, my community that's already existing gets to help with this too, but my intention is to help people manifest $1 million as a community in the month of January.
Oh, that is exciting.
That's
awesome.
I'm so excited.
How can people find out about that?
You can go to payafteryoumanifest.com and fill out the application if for some reason you don't go back through it if you don't get to the application, because no one will be admitted without the application. So payafteryoumanifest.com and come help and contribute to manifesting $1 million as a community.
So fun.
I know. I'm excited. What are you excited about, Jen?
I'm basically excited about being excited.
That was a toss-up for me too. So Tell us more.
I mean, there's just so much energy flowing in every single area of my life. So with Lisa, with our pregnancy, with extended family, with our home, with my clients, with the business, with our tribe and that community, and it's just everywhere. And I'm appreciating excitement. And I think that this is something I teach to my people, is that get excited about the emotion, and because you can't, it's not based on it, it's not a condition, it's a feeling, it's 100% within you, and that is a really powerful way to build this momentum. And sometimes being excited or appreciating what's outside, it doesn't feel like enough, and that's sometimes when I'm pulled back to just excited about being excited. So that's what feels good right now.
I love it because there's so much alignment that goes on between you and I think people see it on this show, but if you had the backstage pass, I think you'd see it even more. But I literally said that to myself the other day. I'm so excited about being this excited.
Oh, that's cool. And also, I know this does take a little bit away from it, but sometimes in manifesting where we say okay, I'm excited to be excited because I know what's coming, or I'm really excited that I feel relaxed because I know what's coming. And that's awesome. That is definitely a step. But the next step beyond that is not even making it mean something else, just keeping it totally present about the feeling in itself.
Yes. Yeah. And this goes for, you just talked about sort of, pre-manifested. As it's manifesting and post-manifested, allowing that excitement for excitement's sake to be there too.
Yeah. That's the success, so is that.
It is the success. Mm-hmm. And since we're just on this really quick, you have had moments, I think, I'm going to speak for myself and then I want to hear yours. I am always excited. I show up to this show and I'm always excited, but this is deeper for me. And this oh my gosh, there's so much, because it's if I had to define it, it'd be like excited about momentum or excited about the amount of excited momentum. Because there are moments that lead up to this moment where you might not have all of that. And so for me, it's even appreciating like, oh, I love this part so much. I love all parts, but I really love this part.
This part's the most fun.
It is the most fun.
It feels so good.
It does feel so good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Is
wrong
that
with
how, do you feel like
enjoying the easy parts of the journey the most.
right? Oh, yeah. And do you feel that way? Like you appreciate it a little bit more because you build to this moment?
100%.
Or is it different for you?
No, I've had lots of excitement in my life, and now it just feels more full. That's the best way I can describe it, like all around, or
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I can just, the science geek in me is like, oh, yeah, it's all this excitement molecules like getting packed tighter and tighter and tighter. So they do feel like bigger and deeper.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
We're full of excitement molecules.
We are.
God, our listeners are probably like, okay, guys.
I know. But I feel like in the future, we should do a show sort of on this, like the process of excitement, the journey of excitement. I know the word's not there yet, but something about this, like how excitement ebbs and flows. And yeah.
All right, we'll put it on the list.
All right, cool.
So do you want to start by just talking about like what a community means to you?
Oh, yeah. Like community is a group of people. And for me, it's a group, like, when you choose your community, right? You can sort of have these communities that you choose, or you can have communities that maybe you don't choose. And so for me, it's important to be conscious about the communities I participate in. And I have evolved, and maybe will come as this is one of our points in the show, to where I'm really clear about what's the value of that community, and not but like value isn't the word I want to use, but what do they add to my life? Because it's often, I think, where people get off, especially when we're talking about sort of law of attraction communities, is they want every community to give the same thing. But I'm very clear that some of my communities are just for like goofing off and laughing.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? What does community mean to you? Oh, go ahead.
Well, when you were speaking, I didn't even think of the other side of community, is that we are all naturally in communities of some sort on some level, and that there are going to be communities that we don't want to be a part of, that we're in automatically. Sometimes we're in families that don't resonate with us, and we don't feel like we get to choose them, like we do. But there are communities that are the same kind of thing, is that we don't even realize, like, hey, oh yeah, I'm a part of this. I live in this area, or I'm a part of this workplace community, and it's not something that I would choose or want to be a part of, or something like that. But yeah, so a community to me, same, is like a group of people. And I always have associated a sense of belonging with it, like an energy of connectedness. When I think of the word community, that's what comes up, is like supportive. This is what I mean. It's like only on the positive side, is like supportive, connected, safe, belonging place. But I guess you could have communities all over the board, any range of feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we'll come back to that part, because I think we want to dive into really, I mean, there's a power in choosing your community. We might talk about sort of the other side, or what to do if you find yourself in a community that maybe doesn't feel good or isn't what you want more of. But being conscious in choosing and being okay, I think my number one, we haven't even necessarily started down this path, but my number one thing about community is it's okay for them not to be everything. Like, just because you belong and you feel good and you're connected doesn't mean you also have to have like you also have to discuss politics and agree, or it doesn't mean that they have to be where you can share all your law of attraction evidence, or it doesn't have to be, you can have different communities that support your different needs.
Yeah. No, I think that's really powerful. And sometimes we don't acknowledge it. It's the same with like in a partnership. You don't giving yourself permission not to get everything from one place. And that can really allow you to experience a lot more freedom and actually get get greater value out of what that community does offer you. This is kind of like the essence of law of attraction. Like, enjoy the parts that resonate with you, and it's going to be of value to you, or it's going to be a pleasant experience for you, instead of pushing against the parts that don't.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to add in, don't judge or first start with don't judging the parts that don't feel good. Like, you don't have to figure out why. It's okay if, this one part feels good and this part doesn't. You can just put your energy and focus on the part that does feel good. And you don't have to rectify or sort of figure out or feel bad that the other part isn't awesome.
Yes. I'm just going to use this example because it just popped up. So if you're part of like a team, like just say a sports team or a sports community, athletic community, and you love playing the game, and you I'm just going to use basketball. You're on the court and you totally resonate with the team and the players, and you feel the flow, and everyone's having a good time. And then off the court, you like don't like these people, or they don't resonate with you. It doesn't mean it's not the right place for you. It doesn't mean there's not value for you in that community. It's just identifying what parts you do love and appreciating those, staying there, and consciously being a part of that team for that reason. Knowing that it's enough for you, because I can see a lot of people saying, oh, but I don't go out, so I'm not close with them, or they have this other connection and I'm left out of that. But as long as you know you're getting what you want out of it, then it's going to be of value to you, and then you're going to create the best experience for yourself.
Absolutely. I know that firsthand team experience. Like, I had players like that on my team, and what I loved is, years later, I was like, oh yeah, we didn't get along, and another teammate that was younger than us would be like, oh, you guys didn't get along? I'm like, no, but I can love and appreciate them.
Yeah.
Right. For what they bring to the field. Instead of choosing the other things, I can choose to focus on how good a player they are. I can choose to focus on how they help us score runs. I can choose to focus on that we do have fun playing together, even though we wouldn't go and hang out with each other outside of the field.
Mm-hmm. And it shows up a lot too in like adult leagues that I've been a part of, and in the opposite way, like, oh, I love hanging out with this person. I do not like playing with them. But
I get that.
Yeah. And so it's all good. And I think like what Cass and I are just trying to communicate is like, you can create the experience you want. Not every person or every community or every team has to fit you in all parts of your life. It can just fit and be a match to one part, and that can be enough.
Yes.
I want to talk about kind of near the beginning-ish of how important I feel having a community is. That wherever or how many parts or like how many different communities we have, I think it's such an essential human need to be a part of a community in some way. And I don't think I really understood this until the older I got. I wanted to travel the world by myself, be independent, and I didn't value so much the sense of community that I could develop in one place. And I could still develop, like I had traveling communities and things like that, and I still received value from those and gave value and things. But I remember when I went back to my hometown, Barrie, at one point, and I was there for 2 years in a row, and I'm like, oh, this is the longest I've been here. And I would like say it as a bad thing, but I really developed this amazing community of people, and something shifted, like something in me shifted. Like but I felt a greater sense of security and belonging and appreciation for who I was. It like allowed me to be more me, that sense. And I miss that, not being in that place. We still get it in other ways, but I never understood the value of that until I experienced that.
Yeah. I think that, like when we talk about the power of communities, the place that allows you to be yourself is one of those keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was
For
going to.
growth.
Yes. For growth. That you feel accepted, and you feel it's safe to express yourself. Now we're kind of switching a little bit here in terms of like what kind of communities we're talking about, because if you're going out with, say, your sports team, and you don't need to feel that same sense of safety and authenticity, right?
You don't need to, but how do you how do I want to word it? I mean, I would say though that we want to develop into the person who is safe and authentic in themselves, that they show up in all those communities. So for me, community is really give and take. It's a place when we have those communities that we can show up authentically, where we get to practice that, and then we get to take that out into maybe a different community where it's not as known that like I can show up totally safe and authentic, but that you feel safe and authentic enough in yourself that you allow yourself to show up in those spaces that way.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% totally agree. I think the more authentically we show up and own who we are, we will naturally attract the best communities for us that are going to help us express that and give us that place to do that.
Should we shift a little into, because both of us have communities, and you want to talk about why we were led to sort of create what we've created and how it's supportive and how we see that as how that supports people as a community.
Yeah. I think kind of the essence of this topic, that what we wanted to talk about, was like really emphasizing the value of having a supportive community around you that makes your life better. It's like, that's just
right?
a very general way to say it, but it touches this human need to be accepted for who we are. And it takes it out on this bigger scale of not just maybe with your partner or in your home, but that there's other people in the world that you can connect with, right? Like that you have this level of connection that's beyond surface things. And that's one of the most amazing things. It's the thing I loved about being a part of a team, is you grow together. And that's what's happening. Like if we're talking about these self-growth communities, or I don't even know if that's what you'd call them, but like for the Enchanted Circle and for the Truth Tribe, that's what's happening, is like you're growing, you're evolving on your individual path with other people who are doing the same thing. And the feeling of, I can't even describe it. It's just like you feel so accepted and supported, and that is what life is about. Like life is about connection. There's lots of people in this world for a reason, so we can connect with other humans. What would you say, Cass?
So many things. I mean, I actually had a memory, which is cool while you were talking. I always wanted, and maybe as we're talking, it came from, like, I was a team sport athlete and I loved that, right? I did love growing together. I loved getting better. I loved getting over that hump when you come back and you win a game or you win a championship or whatever together. And so that might have been why I was really in search of community. For me, especially like in my early mid 20s, like I wanted a community. And what happened with me is I would, I think I would go on Meetup or something, and I'd see Law of Attraction group, and I would go.
I did that.
But they weren't at my level, and it was
crazy.
It wasn't necessarily.
I had the same experience. I'm like, what is going on here?
And it's not that, like, it was like, what is going on? Like, you're making this hard, or you're not doing it, or this is a Law of Attraction group, but we're all talking about what's going wrong. Like, it never felt in alignment. But I wanted a community where we could feed on each other's positivity and our growth. Like, I wanted that really, really bad. Which is why I have created the community that I created now, because I knew that would, back then it would foster. And I'm all good. I'm good that I don't have that. And I have that in other ways now. I've created it. And as you were talking, I was remembering, the first time that I hired a mentor for my business, and there were 2 other women who are still, I talked to one of them a couple weeks ago. They, like, being on that journey with them in the same, like, they were doing their business, because it was the same for me, Law of Attraction wise, but it was also the same in business. Like, I didn't know how to do it, but I was doing it. I was trying to do it. Right. And so when I met but I couldn't also find anyone who wanted to, like, run full force with a business either and sort of be on that same level. And when I met these 2 women, it was amazing, because I was like, oh, they're growing their business. Ooh, their business is better than me. Like, not better, but it's further along. They make more money, and this is this. And it was just this amazing experience of getting to have what I had always wanted, which did come with that acceptance. It came with, being able to break down in front of each other. Mm-hmm. But it also came with being able to share that genuine excitement of growth and creation.
Mm-hmm. I think
always wanted it.
Yeah. Think about when something great happens in your life and you just want to share it, right? You want to share it with someone. And that's what you get to experience in the community, that connection and sharing of your growth. And I'm like stumbling over my words, but it's like when the growth is about your inner transformation versus, like, maybe something external, it is so much deeper. It's so much more powerful. And I just think it adds so much value to your life, being a part of that. I kind of had the opposite experience of Cass, because I never really, I wasn't consciously aware that I craved that. I've always had a vision to bring women together and to, like, by individually, awakening and growing into our best versions of ourselves, like, we collectively kind of create this bigger energy, this bigger force that is beneficial to the world. And that is how I've always thought of community. It's always been a part of my vision. And that's what's happening in the tribe. But I didn't actually understand the power until I've been experiencing it and witnessing it in the tribe, of how the women are coming together, and I can't use any other word other than power that has individually and as a whole. And so it really took me, like, observing it and experiencing it before I truly understood, wow, there's, like, tremendous value in this.
Oh, absolutely. Because the energy, I can't remember whose quote it is, but I've heard it, and I heard it early on, right? So, like, 1 + 1 when you're creating is greater than 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like
cool.
When you put all of the energies together, even if you're not creating the same life or the same thing, or you don't live in the same place, but when you are creating, that strength, that power, that how you can see, like, someone else is succeeding when maybe you feel like you're hitting a bump, like, but that keeps you going. When you hear someone else open up and have such an exciting thing, and that's awesome. Or when you get to grow, and for me, talking about being your most authentic self, like, the Enchanted Circle community is really where people get to practice that. Because you get to practice being vulnerable, you get to practice showing up just fully you, because you know you're going to be accepted. And so then it's this practice for showing up differently in the world around you, which is how you take the work outside and how you continue to grow and manifest. Yeah. And so for me, that's the great, like, that's the power that you're talking about, is a lot of it.
I think specifically to, I mean, I know our communities and probably others out there as well that are focused on being and living the life and, like, you know, stepping into who you want to be, is that exact thing, is like, it's the perfect spot to practice being who you want to be. And in all the ways. So when someone else has a success and you're seeing it and you're feeling that, you're like, oh, I get to practice being the person who celebrates other people's successes, or I get to practice being the person who is accepting of that and not judging, so that it's like a, this is silly, but it's like your play practice, your play game. Then you go out into the real world and you've already had experience. It's like training camp and then going out into play the official game. You know, you have this arena, you have this place to be practicing your skills and your beingnesses before real life is right in your face. And I think that's one of the coolest parts of that.
Well, and I'll add on to that. And then once you go out and you play like the real world game, and you're like, oh, I didn't like how I executed that, or I didn't like that, it's a place to come back to and grow some more so that you're ready for that next real world game and the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I want this. Oh, I was just going to say, I would love, because it keeps coming up, which means this is probably in somebody's head as they're listening, is I joined a community that I thought was going to be all the things you guys are talking about, and it wasn't. So can we talk a little bit about how we would, like, if somebody is feeling that, how we would guide them back to find a community that feels like what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm, totally. And I've had that experience many times, and it wasn't what I wanted. So my first thing is, yay, you are clear about what you want. Like, you know, there's a part of you that very strongly knows what you want, because you know this isn't a fit. And so honoring that, giving yourself permission that it's okay that this isn't for me, I think is the first place. And then I know what Cassie's going to say. I'm just going to say it. Getting really clear about what you really want. So, like, let that experience that you're in help you clarify, okay, this is not what I want. What do I want? What is the experience I really want to have in a community? What would you say, Cass?
Ooh, like, is that the answer, or what would I want? I was just visioning, like, the communities that I was a part of that weren't, like, and that's how I built my community, right? I didn't love communities where people didn't do the work. And so in my community, you do the work. So that would be one example. If that's something that you don't love, yes, I would say be excited that you know what you don't want. Get clear about what you do want. And this is the step that even as LOA people sometimes miss. Like, just set the intention for that to show up. You know, very often we skip the intention and just go straight into the how and the looking for it.
Yeah.
Get clear and set the intention. And I will give, just as a really quick story of evidence, there was a year of my life where I remember I was wanting this community, but I set this intention that I would have friends, deep friendships that supported my work and I could share with in this way that Jenny and I are talking about. And I was so surprised at who showed up.
Oh, cool.
That was already in my life to fulfill that. And so just to remind you, set that intention and then follow the path versus deciding what you want and going to try and get it.
Yeah. I have a example of that too, just recent. Like, I set this intention probably a couple months ago, and different things have been happening and coming in, but nothing's really, like, stuck or felt right. And I even, like, okay, girls, like, let's plan a Zoom over a wine night. Nope, nothing panned out because I was, like, trying to make it happen. And what ended up happening was I was totally inspired. A photographer that I really love in my hometown started this new thing, this new offer she was doing. I had no idea what it was, but I love her. I love following her stuff. I love the pictures she takes. And I just like her energy. And so I'm like, oh, following her. And then she started to offer this community. And I was like, oh, what's this? Oh my gosh, I need this. Oh yeah, this feels totally inspired. I can be creative here. And so I joined her community. And in that community was all these other women from my hometown, like business owners from my hometown. And it was this amazing experience of like, oh my gosh, I'm part of the community, but I'm not there. But it feels so, it like gave me that sense of like, I'm there. And that feeling that I was after. And I'm like, oh, this is the answer. Follow inspiration. So that was a lot of fun. And it just, that's what opening up, setting the intention, then just giving it some time to come to you, keep following those little sparks.
Yes. That is so awesome. I love that story, and I hadn't heard it, so that's extra fun.
Yeah. How do you want to kind of summarize or wrap up the power of a community?
I want to say stay open to anyone who's had that experience. Obviously, Jenny and I both shared how we had experiences that didn't meet our needs or wants. So stay open to anyone who's in that, and then let inspiration guide you, and know, like, Jenny and I both have amazing communities. Like, if that's what you want, give yourself that gift for the holiday. Like, look into it, like choose to give yourself that. And you can always choose to not give it, right? Anytime something, like, go for something, and also be willing to step back when and if it's not what you want. That's okay too. That's part of refining and growing into, an evolving community, or a community that you really want as you evolve.
Yeah. And I would just,
what would you say?
I would just add that if it is kind of this sense of like giving, I don't want to say make it a priority in your life, but acknowledge the communities you have, like value, like just send some appreciation to the communities that you do have for what they do bring to your life. And if it's not what you want, just like Cass said, open up to creating that for yourself, because, and I'm just saying this from personal experience, like it adds value in possibly a way that you might not know yet. Is it like there's stuff there for you? Yeah, that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, guys, have an amazing week, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, it's Ginny here. Have you ever questioned, when is that thing you want coming? Like, how close am I really to manifesting it? You know your alignment is the key to manifesting what you want, but how can you measure this alignment? Well, I have something for you. I created a simple 2-minute quiz. Pop over to my website, ginnygain.com, and take the alignment quiz so you can find out how much time you're spending in alignment and how close you are to getting what you really want. That's GINNYGANE.com. Have fun with it.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.